Hi everyone, so my name is Sheetal Vyas. I'm the founding executive director for the International Fund for Public Interest Media and the Chief Investment Officer. And I want to ask you this question: what would you do with $1 billion to mend a broken media market? Now, we all know that the news model for media is failing everywhere, but it's the poorest countries in the world where this is disproportionately happening, where they're receiving significantly less ad revenue. And so Antonio Guterres last year talked about this being a media extinction event. Wannabe dictators are cracking down on media. It's the first step in their playbook to take control of the countries within which they want to operate. And what's happening is that's creating polarization, proliferation of fake news, and also a lack of trust in media, and that's happening all around us. So development theorists for some time have been talking about, when we get to the slide, have been talking about how independent media can hold government to account. It can create a functioning information ecosystem. So much like health, education, access to food security, access to trustworthy information is a public good. But it's a public good that is failing right now because it's not receiving significant funding. Just 0.3% of overseas development assistance aid money is being allocated towards media development. Why is that? Well, it's because the tools aren't working. When governments fund media, it's messy. There's way too much scope for editorial interference. The skills needed are deep sectoral skills. So we need some fresh thinking. We are at a moment in the world right now where we need a Bretton Woods type institution, the UN, the Global Fund for AIDS, TB and Malaria. We need that kind of ambition of thinking. A global fund, $1 billion fund to support independent media in low and middle income countries. And this guy here, who is sitting over there, wrote about this idea in 2018. He wrote a blog saying, actually, we need to create a mechanism that will enable us to support media in the right way. So what will this fund look like? It needs to be truly multilateral. It needs to have broad political buy-in, and it needs to be representative of those countries which we're looking to support. We need a diversity of funders. We need funding from governments, from corporates, including tech companies, and also from philanthropy. Crucially, it needs to be independent. We need to separate the decision-making over who receives funding from those organizations that fund the institution. And thirdly, we need that decision-making to be as decentralized as possible. No two countries are the same. We need that thinking around who gets funded to happen as close to those countries that are receiving the funding. So, a fund like this creates time and space which is much needed right now for news media to innovate and test new models, but also for us to work at a macro level, to work with those governments that are willing to help them create the right enabling market, enabling environment for media to thrive. So this is a great idea, but impossible to implement, way too ambitious. But I was tasked with trying to make this happen last year. And I'm pleased to say that I have a team that has joined me, a team of dreamers, a team of people who are highly optimistic, who actually want to tackle this challenge once and for all. And I was very honored that last September we were able to appoint our co-chairs to our board, Maria Ressa and Mark Thompson. In fact, Maria received her Nobel Prize just a few weeks after we appointed her. So last September was really busy for us. And since then, we've garnered broad political support. We've also received our first commitments of funding from governments who are as diverse as Taiwan and New Zealand, which for the first time are funding independent media. We recognised how urgent the need was to support media in these countries, so we did launch our first open call for proposals to support independent outlets in 17 countries, and we're going to announce our first cohort of grantees in the next few weeks. So yeah, we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way to go. I reckon we're about halfway up that mountain. We're looking to raise at least $60 million over the next few months so that we can launch our proof of concept stage in earnest. So, coming back to the question, what would you do with $1 billion to mend a broken media market? Well, the truth is that there is no answer. At least we don't know what that answer is. But what we think is that a mechanism like this will enable us to find it. So, Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you about this over the next few days.